Suzy Blanchard, Joyfully Aged. Oh my goodness, it is such a treat to have you on the show today. And we're going to talk today all things tips and strategies for aging joyfully, midlife and beyond. Suzy, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Amy. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited for you to be here. Suzy and I have an interesting story of how we met. We actually don't know how we met. It's algorithm gods put us together on Instagram. I really have no idea how we met, but I'm so glad that we did because, and by the way, congratulations on your success. You guys are absolutely gonna want to go check her out immediately. It's Joyfully Aged on Instagram and on YouTube, correct, Suzy?
Yes, at Joyfully Aged.
Joyfully Aged. I am loving your branding. That is so beautiful. And it's just so fitting of you too.
Thanks. It came after like months of prayer about it. Yeah, that whole process. If you want me to get into it, I can tell you how it all started, but it's quite interesting. And I have been informed that, you know, people just love that branding. They love that name because it reflects how I want to be and how many women I know want to feel through midlife and beyond. And so I'm just happy that, you know, it was a God thing, that it reaches people in a timely manner and the message is correct. So
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think we serve the same demographic. We're both Christians. We both, actually, I don't know your fitness background. I've been in the fitness industry for over 20 years, health coach and all the good stuff. And for my demographic, when I really started doing the research, my market research on what is it that women my age are looking for, the thing that I found was that for the Christian, Christ-centered confidence, inner peace, women are really looking for inner peace, gaining energy, and they're looking for abundant joy. I found those four things. And so the Joyfully Aged really does resonate at such a nice level. I love that you say crushing stereotypes at 50. So do you mind sharing your age with our group?
Yes, I'm currently 50, about to turn 51 in a couple months. And aging is, to me, has always been a number. I mean, physically, chronologically, I'm at, 50 and a half, almost 51. But biologically, because of the things that I have done, like you have been in the health industry for so many years, I've actually have worked out and, being very healthful minded my entire life as well, by playing as an athlete in high school and on to college. And so it's always at the forefront of the way I live my life. So it's one of those things that carry me through. So to me, age has just always been a number. So biologically, I feel like I'm probably a few years younger than 50 right now. But mentally, having gone through the perimenopause, just, that whole the messiness of everything, and being able to find something that actually works for my body and figure out the trick to my own body is just a miracle.
Yes.
It feels so good now looking back. And so for me, the mental, age, I swear, now I feel like I'm back 28 again. And at 50, I can play more sports now, and I'm fitter and I can lift heavier than I ever did in my 20s. Believe it or not, it's crazy, right?
That is amazing. It really is amazing. And it's very inspirational message too, just to hear you. And sometimes women, I remember I was running a program at one time. I can't remember which one it was, but one lady said she started losing a lot of weight and getting healthy just from exercising a little bit and changing her nutrition. She was in one of my programs, and she said that she thought she was just supposed to have a grandmother body. She thought her arms were supposed to be flabby underneath, and she thought her knees were supposed to ache, and she thought that she was not supposed to be able to get up as well. And she was 49 at that time, and just really thought that that's what she was, that was was just the life in front of her until she changed some things in her life. And then she felt like a whole different person. She lost a lot of weight. She lost the inflammation. Her joints felt all together better, and her body literally transformed. And she was so hooked on that healthy lifestyle at that. So I think we're so aligned in just sharing this message that, oh my goodness, no, listen.
That's right.
Let's put all that beside. I turned 50 this year, and I'm so excited about it. And I've been so excited about it for like several years. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was sharing with you earlier that I didn't realize I was mid-age actually until recently. A branding company reached out to me to do some like a brand deal with them. And they wanted to do an interview and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, sure, that'd be great. Anyway, finally, after the interview, I'm like, no, why would you choose me? And they said, oh, it's your age. Oh my gosh, are you joking? Like, my age? What are you talking about? My age?
Funny.
Yeah. So anyway, who knew that we're middle-aged, but we are, and we are redefining what that looks like. We are redefining the parameters of what this could look like, because these can be our best years. We're not as busy raising children. We're not as busy going back and forth, and really, and I know one thing that we're really aligned on is our faith. In that this is a temple. Our body is a temple of the spirit, and the better stewards we are of that, it gives us more energy to use this extra time and space in our lives to really to maximize it, and to really be attached to our purpose and to our potential, and to really do all that God wants us to do in this phase and stage of our life. These are our best years.
They sure are. And I know a lot of people, I just recently became an empty nester last year, and which is kind of leading up to why I started my page on Instagram to begin with. But it's one of those things, like you said, it's the best years of our lives. I feel so good right now. I just want to share with everybody that you don't have to settle for the stereotypes. That's, I don't know about you, but I'm completely aging differently than my mom did at my age. And that's a good thing, right? Because we know more, we can do better because we know more. And so, I just want to encourage and empower all the women out there. Don't settle for anything less. It does not have to be this way. There's a reason why our body is acting the way it is, because of our biological age, but there are things that we can do to improve it. So don't settle for less than.
No. And I love that. So we want to share with you guys strategies and tips to age joyfully. So that's what I want to ask you, Suzy. What are your top tips, your top strategies to share on how do you age joyfully?
Yes. So obviously, one of the major things that a lot of us going through menopause or perimenopause, midlife, we're concerned about, or we have experienced, is the belly creep, right? The weight gain, the things that we have done in the past and maybe in our youth that have worked is now not working at all. And you can try eating less, working out more. I mean, I was eating less than I ever did before, because I thought, okay, I feel like I have to fight the belly creep, right? So I was borderline starving myself. And then I was killing myself in the gym because those are the strategies that we use in our youth. We've been conditioned to use in our youth that may worked well in the youth, but no longer works with our midlife bodies. It was actually sabotaging, and it was causing so much inflammation. The way I was eating what I thought was healthy food, and I was not eating enough food, and I was, doing excessive cardio. So all these things just piled on top of each other and causing chronic inflammation in my body, which I didn't realize at the time. That was what's making all my menopausal symptoms worse, not better. And so once I figured that out, it was through just a happen chance. So I I tore my ACL about a year and a half ago. I grew up in high school. Like I mentioned before, I was an athlete. I played tennis. So I played tennis in high school, played tennis in college. And so I really enjoyed that. So a year and a half ago, out on the courts, playing tennis as usual. And when I went to, turn for a quick turn, my knees didn't go. So I heard a little pop, but at the time it was fine. But lo and behold, I tore my ACL partially. So part of me at that time, I thought, oh no, this is going to be trouble, because I'm already fighting the belly creep and the weight gain, feel like I was doing everything I need to do. And now that I can't work out, what am I supposed to do? I can't eat any less, because, that's just not a way to go. And so it was triggering, a lot of emotions that I had from having just eating disorders in my youth to begin with. And so I was just petrified, like, okay, I really need to focus in on good nutrition then. If I cannot work out, and the mentality we have from our youth is, oh, we can burn that off, right? We can work out to burn off what we eat. You can't really outwork a bad diet. There's no way around it. You and I know that now, but at the time, for a long time, we didn't. So I really narrowed in on my nutrition. And I'm going to tell you, and all the women out there, if there's one thing you can do, is focus on your nutrition. Just think about it. It doesn't matter how much exercise you do. It's only a small portion of the 24 hours we live each day. Right? It's what you do with the rest of the 95% of your time that is going to create value for what you're hoping to achieve. So because I tore my ACL going through the rehab, I really focused on nutrition. And I thought, okay, so if I don't want to eat less and I want to make sure I eat well, nutrient dense foods, what can I do? And Amy, I've tried all the diets out there from decades. I mean, South Beach, keto, low carb, you name it, I have tried it.
Yeah.
And none of them have worked for me, because I didn't really figure out how my body worked. And so I thought, you know what, just if something clicked in my head, like, I need to go back to the basics. Why did God create our bodies the way it is? Right? Like you mentioned earlier, you alluded to it being a temple and how he created us. So I just figured, you know what? I'm just going to go back to God, because if he created us the way we are and to function the way we are, then he have supported us with the food that we need to digest in order to support the bodies that he created for us. Right. So I just thought, you know what? Eating real whole foods is what I'm going to do. Real whole foods, as close as what you can find in nature as possible. I know we can't be 100%, perfect on that every single day, every single meal, but if you can just do that for 80% of the time, which is what I aim for, it is what transformed me. Oh, completely. Because for the longest time, I thought my body couldn't process carbs. Carbs was the enemy.
Right.
How long have you thought that?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So many women do. Yeah.
I always thought, oh my goodness, I have to eat no carbs, stay away from pasta, stay away all these things. Well, it wasn't carbs that my midlife body couldn't process, but it was processed carbs that it couldn't process. Yeah. Because after I switched to eating real foods, I'm eating potatoes, sweet potatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, all what you can find in nature. Yeah. And my body did just fine. I was losing weight so quickly. Like in 6 months, I lost like 14 pounds. It actually happened so fast and so effortlessly by switching to eating real foods. I thought there was something wrong with me.
Oh, wow.
I actually thought, oh my goodness, I must have a brain tumor or something.
Oh, no.
And I went to the doctors to try to figure out, like, okay, what is wrong with me? Because for years, I fight so hard and I couldn't even lose 1 pound, let alone 5. It's the same 5 pounds I'm always fighting. Yeah. But now I'm losing 14. There must be something wrong. And he examined me, ran the test and came back all normal. He's like, nothing is wrong with you, So I told him he's like, what did you change? And I told him exactly what I did. And he said, well, it's just that you're eating healthy. You're eating nutrient dense foods.
So how old were you when you made this shift in your nutrition?
It was about a year and a half ago.
Oh, so you're new to this. Oh,
yes.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, I hope that the listeners here will hear that, and you're just never too old to shift and to pivot. And
Not
I
at
think,
all.
and I think you'll also agree with this, is that it's a little bit of a constant shifting and pivoting, especially at now that you know, brought up perimenopause and menopause, that especially with like people that struggle with insulin resistance, you know,
Exactly.
they may not can have as many sweet potatoes as you can. And so it's just that bio individuality, really understanding and learning your body and
That's
how
right.
to do that. I work with my clients one-on-one, particularly with this, especially when they're struggling, because eating real foods is key. It really
Yes.
is. That is so key. And I love that you said 80%, because it's that perfection is where people get, they honestly, they get frustrated. And then they say, well, you know, well, to hell with it all, because I just can't, if I can't do it all, then never mind, I'm not good enough. And so really, it's, to me, it's that 80%. And when I know I need to slim down a little bit, I aimed closer to 90%.
Right.
But somewhere between that 80 and 90% for me is good. And then I also get slack. And when I get slack and I'm really starting to analyze what I'm doing, I'm at that 70%. And then that's when I need to like, that's not working for me. Christmas time does not work for me very well. Okay. Yeah. But eating real foods is key, and really understanding that, and then just learning, you know, learning how to do it. So for those of you that are listening and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to do that, I don't know how to get started, you can do this. It may be a process for you to understand. And Suzy was able to take this and run with it. And that's a little bit her personality type though, too. Like kind of, you know, that's her personality type. When I started with real food, nutrient dense nutrition is a little bit of a different story. I was in my early 40s. And I had gotten my first hormone panel, and I went to a functional practitioner, and I just knew she was going to tell me I was a rock star. Okay. My body, I had hardly any body fat. I was like rocking this massive muscle. I mean, I was just so like, looked like the picture of health from the, you know, from the outside, but I had to start answering questions like, did I take anything to go to sleep? Did I take any medicine during the day? And I didn't even realize it. Suzy, I was taking Aleve every single day because I had so much inflammation in my body. I was taking, I didn't know, you know, you don't know what you don't know. Now I know. And I'm like, I can't even believe I'm going to say this out loud. I took Benadryl every night to go to sleep. Because I was so jacked up. I didn't have natural energy. I was drinking a lot of caffeine during the day to keep me going because I didn't have that natural energy. And then I had so much inflammation in my body. I'm taking all this Aleve, and then I'm taking Benadryl at night to go to sleep. So I was really fueling myself unhealthy. And then I was taking something to go to sleep at night. And so when my labs came in, she was like, you need to change some things. And that's when I fell in love with functional nutrition, with integrative nutrition. I immediately became a health coach. I mean, I was all in. I was like, everybody has to hear about this. Everybody's got to learn about this, because you are what you eat, and it literally can change your life. But I just want to encourage the person that's feeling like, okay, I don't know how to do that, or I'm not the all or nothing personality like you two ladies are. I'm just not. Start somewhere. Take those small steps, add the nutrition in, add the vegetables in, try to start removing those processed foods. There's so much support out there. If you need a coach to work with, Suzy's probably got some programs. I've got programs. Get yourself some support if you need it. And I really feel like actually this is one area that people should level up and get some support. Most people don't know how to handle proper nutrition, and they don't know how to do it on their own. And they really need accountability, and they need that expert guidance. So if that's you, like, empower yourself by getting some support. So anyway, so tip number one is eat real food.
Yes. And you kind of alluded to a couple other tips too, you know, which is try to eliminate the processed food as much as you can, and no added sugar. Because at this point in my life, I really don't feel that God created our bodies to process all those synthetic additives. You know, it just doesn't know what to do with it. And that's what causes our inflammation or adds to it. And to start, like what you're saying, just start small. It took me like very small steps over 6 months to really switch everything over. So for years, the all or nothing mentality is what drove me. And, it's a bad cycle that you get into though. So if anybody out there is feeling that way, I get you. I've been there because you feel like, wow, if I get tripped up, once, then just forget it. I didn't do it right. I'm going to scrap it. I'm going to quit, and then start over, or, well, that didn't work. Right.
Yeah.
But that's not what it is. I mean, real lifestyle changes that are sustainable requires just 80% of consistency of showing up, and you'll see great results just from that. So scrap that. I mean, I started small. The first thing I did was actually just switching out butter, with extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah.
Just doing something simple like that for a couple weeks, and then every couple weeks to see how your body adjusts.
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks later, you can add something else. And I really focused on just adding instead of taking away, because if you tell me, oh, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I'm going to go crazy. Right.
Yeah.
So instead of thinking of that, I really focused in on, okay, what can I add? Okay, so I'm going to add more vegetables. I'm going to add more protein. And by the way, ladies, the protein thing is what you need to focus on. That would be the first thing. Add more protein to every single meal and snack that you have, and you'll see your cravings diminish.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about the things that I've experienced after this transformation. My perimenopause symptoms are reduced down to nothing.
Amazing.
It's amazing. And then the 14-pound weight loss, I have more energy than ever. I don't usually drink anything for pre-workout or a post-workout or energizers, nothing. It's purely just from eating nutrient-dense foods. That gives me my energy all day. I don't hit the afternoon slump. I don't get the cravings, like in the afternoons, because of the protein that I take in at every single meal and snack. So
Suzy, I can tell you right now, somebody's going to say, how much protein do you take in? So before she answers that, I want to just say, you've got to find the right protein amount for you. One size does not fit all, but for reference, Suzy, how much protein do you aim for per meal and per day?
For right now, and I'm not afraid to share any of my metrics, because I'm 50, I'm 5'2", I'm 106 pounds. Okay. So for me, I actually aim to anywhere from 100 to 110 grams of protein per day. So based on your weight, that's what I do. But that's because I'm in a building phase right now. I'm building in terms of strength. When I was maintaining, then it was more like 85 to 95 grams per day. Mm-hmm. So I've increased it because I'm in a building phase. Just for a point of reference, that's kind of where I am. How about you, Amy? What are you doing?
Well, I don't share my weight that freely with people. I love that you do.
You don't have to, but what about the protein?
Prioritize protein. For the longest time, it was suggested maybe 75% of your weight per grams a day. And then also you hear a lot, at least 30 grams per meal, which is probably about what you do. Yep. But for women, most women weigh more than 106 pounds. I definitely weigh well more than 106 pounds. So I do try to do my body weight, and then I split that up times 3. But I'm also learning that the more I prioritize my protein, and I really crush my water goals, it really does help with my cravings, and I feel so satiated, and I'm not nearly as hungry. And I usually find that when I'm snacking in mid-afternoon, or I'm ravenous, or I'm just like mindlessly eating, that I have not, and I go back and look, I haven't eaten proper protein, and I haven't had my water properly. So for me, those two things are really important. But it really is finding what's right for your body. And I do think that in general, most women, and especially like my one-on-one clients that I work with, almost always, when we up their protein and they really start hitting those goals, they're able to start losing that weight, because there's so important to build muscle. So your number one tip, your number one strategy for aging joyfully is clearly nutrition.
Yes, definitely.
Clearly nutrition and to gain energy.
Because that's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck.
100%.
Focus on that.
I am so in alignment with that. Okay. So Suzy, do you have any other tips that you want to share with our audience about aging joyfully?
Sure. I think you kind of alluded to it about the drinking enough water in a day, and definitely there you go, girl. Definitely make sure you drink plenty of water. I find most women don't drink enough, and your body is mostly made up of water. So you gotta get your organs functioning properly and flushing things. You have to have enough water. So I make sure I do that. And then my second tip would be obviously strength train, lifting weights, ladies. And this goes to a lot of the women that I talk to, that I have just in my, as friends, family, or clients now that I've talked to, or followers who ask me questions. A lot of women's like, oh, I want to look toned. What does that look like? Well, the way we've been trained to think about exercise, to me, has been, again, just like nutrition, so incorrect. Because there's still a lot of personal trainers out there that says, oh, do this exercise to burn this, to burn fat, or to spot train or spot reduce. That's not how it works. You cannot spot reduce anything. The way I tell my clients to look at exercise is, you want exercises strictly, especially weightlifting, is to build muscles, okay? To maintain your muscle mass. Because as we age, we naturally will lose those muscle mass. So you have to fight harder at midlife to maintain where you are. And I'm actually trying to push past that and actually build some muscles at this point, because your muscle is your metabolic currency. So as you build muscles, you obviously are going to require more energy so this is where the burning comes in, but technically that's not how it works. So anyway, lifting weights, I do it 3 times a week. That's all I need to do. Used to, I would be killing myself with cardio in the gym.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that was causing more stress on your body.
Yeah.
So, which leads to more weight loss resistance. And it was just a fast cycle to, again, put myself in. Once I reduce the number of workouts that I do in a week, I used to work out for like 45 minutes to an hour, 5 to 6 times a week. Okay. That's a lot. Maybe that was fine in the youth. You can't do that with midlife bodies. That actually, it'll make it worse. It'll sabotage all your nutrition efforts. So I reduce it to 3 times a week. But when I lift to failure.
Yeah.
I make sure to fatigue my muscles. So whatever the rep range you want to do, it could be 6 to 10 or 8 to 12, whatever it is that's comfortable for you. The last couple of reps has to be, you will naturally slow down your rep. No matter how hard you try, your movement will slow down. That's a challenging weight that you're using. That's how you know you're using the proper weight. And then the last one, you may not be able to lift all the way through because you're going to fail. So that's how I lift. So I make sure I can grow. And, so that has made a tremendous difference. And do you know how much time it freed up in my day, my week?
Oh, I know, right?
Oh my goodness.
I know.
It is so freeing. I have all this time now. Instead of slaving away at the gym,
I know.
I have all this free time to enjoy the things I enjoy.
I love that. I love that. And I think it's still good. Like I know a lot of ladies that really enjoy playing tennis. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's your hobby. That's awesome. It doesn't mean that that's just, you can't move, but being very careful though about what you're doing, because you do need a certain amount of activity a day. The American Heart Association recommends 10,000 steps a day. That's not, so if you're a runner and you go running in the morning and then you've got your 10,000 steps in, that does not include that. It really is about keeping that body in motion. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. So it's about keeping your body up.
Right.
Like right now, we're recording this. I'm standing because standing's better than sitting, right?
Yes.
So it's just about these mindful actions that we keep our body in motion. Now, and we'll wrap up with this, because the thing that I noticed about you first when we found each other on Instagram is your mobility challenges and how much you work on that. Super impressive. Like, oh my gosh, I need to focus more on mobility and stretching, and I'm just not prioritizing it enough. I need to prioritize it more. How about that?
Yes.
So I know that this is important, and it's so important for our joints. It's so important.
Well, it's part of the functional health that you were talking about before. I mean, we're not looking as women, when we want to look toned. So what I was alluding to earlier is that the muscle, what you're doing is building muscles, but in order to reveal those muscles that you have built, it goes back to nutrition. Right? The old adage that abs are made in the gym, but revealed in the kitchen. Same thing for your muscles. So just think of weightlifting as purely for building muscles. But if you want to look toned, you have to dial in on your nutrition consistently 80% of the time. And then as far as for the other days, I do my active rest days. And you saw in my videos, I do mobility, I do stretching, I do yoga, I do dancing, a lot of that. And I do my tennis, my biking, my walking, hiking, swimming, all these things. Those I just consider active rest, because you know why? To me, it's not hard work. Those are enjoyable activities that I naturally do with my family, I
love it.
Or with friends. So to me, that's not work. That's fun.
I love
that's active rest to me. But yes, it's just having that daily movement, getting it in, because it all adds up. Every little thing adds up.
And it sounds like that's just part of your lifestyle. Like this is literally part of your lifestyle. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, okay, well, she's not really counting that. If you're at home and you come home and if you sit at a desk all day long and then you come home and you sit your butt in front of the TV, no. She's not talking about the same thing that is. Our bodies need to stay in motion, and keeping it pliable and flexible and stretchable, being very sensible about what you're doing. And this all or nothing mentality really does have to go. And even really like crazy, I'm almost hesitant to even say certain workouts, because as soon as I do, somebody's gonna be like, but wait a minute, I do that and it's just fine. But being really mindful and careful about like, CrossFitters, a lot of them get really injured. They tear up different parts of their body because they're not doing enough stretching, or maybe not enough warming up. And and a lot of HIIT training, which I love I love, high intensity interval training, but being careful of that too. It's about really thinking through injury prevention at this age. Tear a meniscus or whatever, we're down and out. I know, right? We're down and out for a while. So
that is so important, to work through your full range of motion. And a lot of people think, oh, well, to do the stretching, to do the mobility, like I have to go get all dressed up and workout clothes. No, you can just do it in your pajamas. I literally do like joint mobility while I'm brushing my teeth, when I wake up first thing in the morning, as soon as I get out of the bathroom, as I'm walking to the sink. It's very simple things to do. It does not have to be complicated. I think in our heads, sometimes we overcomplicate things, to kind of talk ourselves out of it subconsciously. But it really is so simple. I mean, just even when you're reaching to put dishes away in the upper cabinet, go through the full range of motion instead of, like this, make sure you work all your shoulders, just every joint you have to the full range of motion. When you're putting the, pans away, squat down to do it. Don't bend over to do it, squat down. So it's just little things like that you do in your daily functions that can actually keep your mobility for years to come. It really does not take much at all.
I love that.
And if you do things well, like even with strength training, you can increase your mobility range of motion just while you're lifting weights. So just going through the full range of motion, that's all you need to do.
I love that. Okay, now Suzy, you do have programs where people can come and join you online. Is that right? Don't you have some things where they can come?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I do. I would love for people to join my accountability group called Joyfully Fit Club. And you can do that by, I have links, a link in my bio, on my Instagram page. I
We'll
also have a
include it
YouTube.
on the show notes here as well, for sure.
Yes, please. And then I started a YouTube channel where I will be demonstrating work along, rep by rep type of workouts, because a lot of followers have been requesting that. So I will be start posting that shortly. So if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, feel free.
Which is Joyfully Aged.
Yes.
Joyfully Aged on YouTube. So definitely go subscribe to her YouTube channel and definitely go follow her on Instagram. Now, do you have a Facebook platform as well?
I do not.
Good for you.
I love Facebook for reasons I'm not even going to get into here.
So they can go follow you. And then also, do you have like an email list where they could maybe get weekly inspiration from you?
Oh, absolutely. That's a wonderful way to stay connected. And I actually offer a lot more tips, nutrition wise and fitness and mindset in my newsletters. So make sure, if you want to, that's just another way you can learn from me. And I love feedback. So you can, and at this point, I know despite the follower count, I still answer everything on my own. So every DM, every comment, every email, I'm doing it all. So what you're getting is me personally.
I definitely know. She doesn't have an assistant. She's like a one-man show right now, which is crazy. Oh my goodness. Okay, Suzy, this was so much fun. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that we did this. I love your brand. I love what you're doing. I love these tips of nutrition, strength training, drink your water, full range of motion. And from that helps to start naturally balancing hormones. It helps to energize your body. It helps you to be strong and age with joy. And I just love this so much. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
Yes, being with us today. And you guys be sure and check out how to follow her in the show notes. And all right. Thank you again.
Thank you.
See you guys next time. Bye.
All right. Bye.